Most skincare brands today look the same, so I challenged myself to design one that doesn't. If you've been wanting to start a skincare brand for a while now, but you're confused about what colors, logos, or design styles would suit your brand, this video is for you. Because today, I'm going to show you the exact design process that I've used to design Aluma, a concept skincare brand rooted in botanical wisdom, gentle science, and soft minimalism. And this video is for any business owner who's looking to start a lifestyle brand, or for a designer who loves watching things come to life. Now, I get it. You probably have a great product or idea in mind, but when it comes to the design, it can feel really overwhelming, especially when you go on Pinterest and you see all the inspiration out there. Also, when you look in the market and you see so many competitors, and then you get that feeling of where do I even start? But my goal in this video is just to keep it simple. You'll see my exact creative process from idea to execution, and hopefully you can take away something that'll add to your brand project. So let's get into it. So as I said before, Aluma is a concept skincare brand, and what that means is it's a passion project. I've never designed a skincare brand identity before, and I thought this would be a great time to experiment, document it, record it, and put it in a video like this. I did go to ChatGPT and I knew the traits I wanted for the brand, so I wasn't even sure about the brand name yet. And I just kind of described how I want something that feels botanical and it feels nature-based and it just feels warm. And so ChatGPT gave me a couple of names and I shortlisted on Aluma. And when I was refining the idea for it, it became super clear that it's a brand that draws from the botanical wisdom of nature. Think soft meets scientific. So once I had the name sorted out, I still felt that there needed to be strategy for the brand and something to guide the creative process. And so I kind of came up with my own brand strategy for the brand. I figured out what the mission would be, vision, and then explored tone of voice, how it would sound. When it came to the tone of voice for Aluma, I think that really guided on my design decisions, their personality traits, and I also created a client avatar to figure out what type of person would Aluma be suited for, or who would even buy Aluma. I was thinking of a woman who's really well informed in skincare and she really takes care of herself, but she also comes from maybe a background in natural sciences, dermatology, or she's really focused on healing and she wants to use pure natural ingredients. And so then obviously I was thinking more on like, okay, how is this going to translate into colors? Like this person loves nature, so they want to be surrounded by nature. And then I wanted to pull inspiration and images of nature, obviously. So now I start building the brand creative direction. And here you can see I've shortlisted the images that I feel best reflected the brand. I wanted to capture a feeling, like as if you're in nature itself. And the palette starts with classic natural tones like your olive greens, but then I wanted to contrast them with something soft and feminine, you know, the soft side I was talking about earlier. So I added dusky pinks. What I like about dusky pink is it doesn't feel overly feminine or pristine, but it feels almost muddy. It feels like it's lived in, and it gives a softness without being sweet. And the mood board references a lot of textures, and again, it just makes you feel something. There's a lot of movement. There's close-ups of the leaves, of flowers, and of course also the products like your foam cleansers or a woman's face, and something that feels very immersive. It was really important to me that nothing felt artificial. Every shade needed to feel like it could be plucked from a leaf, a rock. It's not your typical pastel meets beige skincare brand. There's something a little mossy, a little raw, but it still feels calm. Now that I had my colors confirmed, it was time to move into logo design. So my initial instinct was to go for a clean sans serif font, something minimal that would contrast the textured world of the brand. But once I started mocking it up, it just fell flat. It was too sterile, and honestly, it was a bit expected. And so I went back and then I explored other types of font categories. So I was initially exploring serifs, but then again, that feels a bit predictable. And then I explored slab serifs because they carry this beautiful tension. They're clinical and credible, but they can also feel warm and approachable. And I finally settled on this one that was slightly rounded, and I used a lowercase form so it felt incredibly human. And overall, I felt like this logo gives that slight clinical edge without losing approachability. And then for the icon, I used my go-to method of working with symmetry and monogram shapes. I knew I didn't want a literal flower or leaf or sun because that is so expected. And instead, I explored radial symbols that hinted at the name Aluma without locking it into a single metaphor. So I actually had pulled out the A from the initial sans serif font I was working with, and then I reflected it and then flipped it again, and the final icon almost looks like a spoked wheel or a light burst, but it's subtle, and most importantly, it feels expandable. This is an identity that can stretch into supplements, scents, even wellness spaces without being visually trapped by the skincare category. Then step 5 was using texture, photography, and creating a visual system. And this was my favorite part because this would actually influence the packaging. Skincare comes down to packaging, and no matter what anybody says, we're influenced to buy something by how it looks. And I knew from the beginning I wanted the visuals to feel grainy and a bit imperfect and have some feeling of movement in it. And I sourced photography from Visual Electric and played with creating soft blurs and overlays in Photoshop. And then afterwards, I added noise and grain and this motion blurriness. And I kept on talking about how the brand is inspired by botanical wisdom. And so I used that as the tagline of the brand. It's short, it's direct, and it leaves space for interpretation. Step 6. Mockups and packaging design. To bring it all to life, I curated skincare mockups, which I got from Creative Market because AI was taking too long, and honestly, nothing beats a PSD mockup yet. I created a packaging for some creams, and each item features a colored-coded ginkgo illustration, my hero shape. It's inspired by nature's most iconic leaf for longevity and healing, and I kept the illustration minimal so I could play with colors to represent different product lines. And the final mockups that I created was a barrier recovery cream in terracotta pink, then another cream in an earthy green, and also I was experimenting with a botanical serum which would be in a glass dropper bottle, but I wasn't sure about the gold overlay, but I wanted to experiment with it. And overall, the labels and the typography are easy to read, and I imagine these being stacked on shelves in concept stores or found in your bathroom. And you can see that the packaging directly is inspired by the mood board, botanical photography, shadowy textures, and tactile layers. And at the end, I designed all of this on Adobe XD so that I could post it for the world to see. And this is it, the full brand identity for Aluma. It's sensory, strategic, and full of possibility. From a grounded color palette to a clinical slab serif logo to the expanding illustration system and nature-rooted packaging, this brand is about creating science-backed care that feels like nature. And if you're building a skincare brand or a lifestyle product and you want to make it feel intentional, sensory, that's exactly the kind of work I do. You can book a free call with me using the link in the YouTube description below, and we can discuss how we can work together. And if you like this breakdown, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.